This next example that I'm going to talk you through is going to show inheritance. It's going to show polymorphism. It will eventually show how to use vectors and something called pointers. Can be a rather complicated implementation, but many of you will be using a lot of these characteristics in your semester project, so I want to give you a full-blown example and start it kind of from bare bones and work our way up. There's going to be several different variations of this example. What we are going to do is basically create a zoo. And I'm using the word smart art in order to create my hierarchy and my UML diagrams and my class diagrams. So this is a hierarchy chart, and I'm going to have a zoo that has animals. And my animals are going to have a name, they're going to have a weight, and then I'm going to calculate the total food that the animal consumes. And that's so that the zookeepers will know how much food to order. And I'm also going to add there's going to be some typical methods within our animal class, and there will be some that won't be so typical. I can use all my typical getters and setters if I wanted to. For example, I could have get weight, and get weight will return a double. I could have a get name, and get name will return a string. I can have a method, for example, to feed the animals. So when I feed an animal, I'm going to need to take in an amount. So I'll say double amount, and it's going to return nothing, so that's a void. So I'm kind of creating my class diagram using this hierarchy chart, and I wanted to show this to you because you guys might actually use it. I'm going to increase the font here so you can see that just a little bit better. So even though this isn't an official class diagram, I'm not using a table or anything, I can see the class name, I can see the instance fields, and I can see my methods. It's not lined up, but I think I could get it to line up if I highlighted it. I'm not going to be so worried about it lining up though. If you use this format, it's perfectly fine. Remember that there is in front of these variables, all of my private instance fields will be, right now they're going to be private. And so I'm going to put the minus sign in front of them. A minus sign in front means that it is private. And then my variables here are public, so they have a plus. So minus means that it's private. Plus means that it is public. And a hashtag, or what I would call a pound sign, means that it's protected. And actually, if we go back, these are going to become protected. So I'm going to go ahead and make them the proper symbol right now for protected. And I will explain why they're protected in a little bit. So getting all of this to kind of line up. And then mammal. I'm going to create a mammal. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here, but a mammal basically is not going to have any other characteristics besides weight, name, and there will be a total food that the mammal consumes. However, a mammal might have a specific output method, and so I might decide in the mammal that I need some additional methods here. And I'm not real comfortable with how this works, so I have to toy around with it a little bit. So I have a mammal, and I'm going to have no additional instance fields. So I'm just going to put it that it's blank. There aren't any additional instance fields. And I'm going to use these same methods, get weight, get name, and I'm going to be able to feed the animal. But then I might have a get information method that is specific for a mammal. So I'll call that get info. I'm not sure what it's going to do yet, but what I'm trying to show you is that I don't have to recreate all of these instance fields again because I'm going to reuse them in a mammal, and that's what my idea of inheritance will do. So I inherit weight, name, and total food from the animal. Now over here on reptile, I have decided for a reptile that I will use an additional instance field. And reptiles, in order for them to stay healthy and to make sure that they are getting the care that they need, we have to monitor their temperature. And so I'm going to add an instance field called temperature to help monitor them. And then the reptile will have a get weight, get name. A reptile will also need a get temperature method. And get temperature will return a double. And the reptile might have its own get info method to output the information for a reptile. And get info will probably return a string. If it doesn't already output things, it might return or just return a string that has the information. So that's kind of the design of what the project's going to be. We're now going to work on slowly implementing this, and we may come back to this and add in some details. I'm also going to show you a feature in Visual Studio that will help you create your own class diagrams a little bit more professionally as we go along. So this is going to be our zoo project.